This isn't Formula One. It's Formula E on steroids. I enjoy driving flat out, and right now, you can't do that. That's how Max Verstappen described the 2026 cars. We've gone too far too soon. It's ridiculously complex, and I don't think any fan will understand it. Those were the words of Lewis Hamilton. It's no longer about taking risks, but about having more energy available. The main role of the driver is being lost a little. Fernando Alonso. 3 world champions, 3 serious warnings. Formula One is about to change forever. In 2026, electric power is tripled, DRS disappears, active aerodynamics takes over, and energy management becomes more important than pushing flat out. During Bahrain testing, something disturbing appeared. Cars losing speed halfway down the straight, with the throttle fully pinned. Is this the greatest technical revolution in F1 history? Or the beginning of a Formula One that's losing its identity? Let's break it down. After hearing 3 world champions question the new regulations, the obvious question becomes unavoidable. What actually changed in 2026? Because visually, the cars don't look radically different. Yes, they're shorter, they're narrower, they're lighter. The FIA wanted to stop the cars from becoming heavier and bigger, but the real change isn't visual. It's structural, mechanical, and philosophical. In 2026, electric power is tripled. This isn't a small adjustment. It's the biggest shift in power distribution since the hybrid era began in 2014. Until 2025, Formula One operated roughly on an 80% combustion, 20% electric split. The internal combustion engine was the star. The electric system assisted. Now, that balance is nearly 50-50. The electric motor is no longer a supporting actor. It's a co-star. And that changes the way these cars must be driven. Up until now, energy recovery came from 2 systems. The MGU-K, harvesting energy under braking, and the MGU-H, recovering thermal energy from the turbo, almost for free, while the car was flat out. That second system was crucial. It meant you could charge the battery even when you weren't braking. But in 2026, the MGU-H is gone, completely removed. Now, all recovery depends solely on braking, which means no heavy braking, no battery charge. On circuits with strong braking zones, like Bahrain, it might work. But on high-speed circuits with long straights and fewer heavy braking points, battery becomes a scarce resource. That forces teams to do something that feels unnatural in Formula One. Lift off, brake earlier, brake longer, limit speed in fast corners, manage energy constantly. It's no longer just about pushing to the limit. It's about managing deployment. And when management becomes more important than aggression, that's when questions begin to appear. Is this evolution or transformation into something else entirely? Up until now, this all sounds technical, but in Bahrain, we saw something that changes the entire conversation. During qualifying simulations, cars reached top speed on the main straight, and halfway down the straight, they started losing speed, with the throttle at 100%. No lifting, no braking, no gear change. They simply ran out of electric deployment. That's clipping. And yes, clipping existed before, but it mainly appeared during races, usually near the end of the longest straights. Never in qualifying, never this early. In 2025, a driver would hit maximum speed right before braking. That was the natural logic of racing. You accelerate. You keep accelerating. You reach the peak. You brake. In 2026, that logic changes. The car accelerates, hits its peak, and then slows down before the braking point. That alone feels unnatural. But the bigger issue isn't just on the straights, it's in fast corners. In Bahrain's turns 11, 12, and 13, corners that used to be nearly flat out, the 2026 cars are running 1 gear lower, artificially limited. Why? To harvest more energy, Fast corners are now regeneration zones. That means a qualifying lap is no longer about pure attack, it's about management, lifting, braking earlier, braking longer, accepting that you cannot deploy full power everywhere. In other words, speed no longer depends only on driver skill. It depends on battery state. For the last 15 years, overtaking in Formula One largely depended on DRS, a defined zone, a 1-second detection window, a rear wing opening, a clear attacking opportunity. In 2026, DRS is gone. Instead, all cars have access to active aerodynamics on the straights. But since that removes the natural advantage for the car behind, the FIA introduces something new: override mode. If you're within 1 second of the car ahead at the detection point, you receive extra electric energy, half a megajoule. That you can deploy anywhere on track, not limited to a specific straight, not restricted to one activation zone. You choose where to use it. In theory, it sounds brilliant. More freedom, more strategy, more creativity. But here's the concern. A normal 2026 car starts losing electric deployment around 290 kilometers per hour. From that point, electric assistance fades. With override mode, you can maintain full electric deployment beyond 330 kilometers per hour. That creates a massive speed delta. In certain scenarios, we could see 30, 40, even 50 kilometers per hour differences. That's not a battle. That's a drive-by. No wheel-to-wheel fight. No defensive tension. And then comes the next question. What happens after the overtake? Because once you burn that extra energy, you may need several laps to recharge. Meanwhile, the car you just passed might have conserved more energy. We could see chain overtakes, but not necessarily battles, more like strategic energy exchanges, closer to a video game mechanic than pure racing. Some drivers have already hinted that we may see overtakes in unusual places. That could be exciting, or it could feel artificial. And once again, the same question returns. Are we creating better racing, or manufacturing it? There's another issue that hasn't received as much attention, but it could be just as critical as clipping: race starts. Preseason testing already showed unusual behavior: anti-stall systems triggering, unexpected wheel spin, engines being held at high revs for several seconds, all linked to the new power unit configuration. In 2026, the hybrid system requires the engine to stay at high revs for a few seconds to properly prepare the turbo and electric deployment. That means drivers must hold the engine up before lights out. But if they hold it too long, the torque delivery can be too aggressive. If they don't hold it long enough, the turbo response may be delayed. Now imagine 22 cars on the grid, all trying to hit that perfect window. The start of the Australian Grand Prix could be unpredictable. More wheel spin, more anti-stall triggers, more instability in the opening meters. And remember, the cars are lighter. They produce less downforce. They're more nervous, harder to control under acceleration. Turn 1 in 2026 might be explosive. That could be spectacular or chaotic. So far, we've focused on Bahrain, a circuit that's hard on brakes, with several heavy braking zones, with natural opportunities to regenerate energy. And even there, we're already seeing clipping in qualifying. We're already seeing aggressive energy management. We're already seeing speed limitations and fast corners. Now imagine this on very different tracks. Imagine Jeddah. Extremely fast, high-speed flowing sections, fewer heavy braking zones. Imagine Suzuka. Long flowing corners, extended periods at full throttle. Or think about Monza. The temple of speed, massive straights, heavy braking zones, yes, but huge amounts of flat-out time. If in Bahrain, a track where regeneration has never been an issue, we're already seeing speed drop halfway down the straight. What happens in Monza? Do cars start losing electric deployment just seconds after exiting the corner? Do we see drivers lifting even in qualifying? Because here's the key. In 2025, clipping during races was subtle. You'd lose 2 or 3 kilometers per hour near the end of the straight. In 2026, We're seeing differences of 15, 20, or more kilometers per hour before braking. That changes the visual perception of speed. Formula One has always been the category where cars accelerate all the way to the braking point. If now the car accelerates, peaks, and then starts slowing down before braking, the sensation changes, the aggression changes, the story changes, and that leads to the real question. Is this just an early development phase that teams will fix? Or is this the new DNA of Formula One? Because if it's not a temporary issue, then 2026 isn't just an update, it's a paradigm shift. Maybe 2026 will be a technological masterpiece. Maybe it's a risky experiment. Maybe it's the brilliant future of Formula One. Or maybe we're watching something change forever. The only way to know is to live it race by race, start by start, overtake by overtake. And if you want to break down every detail, every technical evolution, every controversy, and every surprise of this new era, subscribe, because we're going to experience the 2026 season in full, with complete analysis, no hype, no shortcuts, just real understanding of what's happening on and off the track. See you in Australia.